Hello everybody, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. So for this week's video, I was planning to do another national park watercolor, but my new school semester just started and I'm working on a really big writing project, so I've been pretty busy and I haven't really had time to do all the research and work that goes into those national park videos. But since I haven't posted a video for the last 2 weeks, I thought that I should at least do something, and ideally something that's fun and creative, since I haven't had as much time to draw as I would like. As I was thinking about this, I was reminded of a conversation that I had with a girl that I was doing an internship with this summer. We were both just kind of waiting around at one point, and she asked me if she could draw my sketchbook. I always like to carry my sketchbook with me, and I'm always happy to share it, so I said yes. She ended up drawing a couple different people on the page, and I naturally was curious and asked her if they were her characters. She told me that no, they were not characters, but she just liked to draw for the fun of it. And I thought that that was pretty inspiring because the concept of drawing just for the sake of drawing is pretty foreign to me. Whenever I'm drawing, I have a purpose. Most often that purpose is to tell a story. It could also be just to get the ideas in my head out on paper so that I can get my thoughts organized, or because I want to show them to someone else. I actually started drawing again because I had told my family a story about someone I had met, and their outfit and hairstyle was really important in the story, and I had been trying to describe it, but I realized that I wasn't doing a great job, so I thought, wouldn't it be so much easier if I had a picture? Of course, I didn't have a real photograph, but I could draw one. That idea that I could actually make a picture of what was in my head and transfer it to paper for other people to see was so exciting to me that I just kept on doing it. But I'll admit that I don't really love to draw simply for the sake of drawing. I know that it's important to practice your technique by doing observational drawings and things like that, but whenever I do that, I always try to find a way to somehow make it about my characters. So my thought for this video was, why don't I do something that really gets me out of my comfort zone and try drawing based on a random prompt. For this random prompt, I went to drawingprompt.com. I decided to start with something easy, so I clicked on the person modern button and got quote-unquote a bright-faced teenager behind the counter at a fast food restaurant. They're neat, clean-cut, and wearing the uniform. This was not really what I had in mind. My first thought was, oh my gosh, what am I going to draw? I didn't really want to draw some random generic teenager, so I thought, which one of my characters is a teenager and would work at a fast food restaurant? Of course, there's only one answer, Elizabeth Spice. Even though I hadn't thought of that particular concept before, I could totally picture her working a summer job somewhere, and her town, even though it's a pretty small town, probably has at least one burger place, or some kind of equivalent. Because after all, this is America. So I started looking up tons of references because, I'll be honest, fast food restaurants are not my favorite things to draw. In fact, as I thought several times while drawing this, they're pretty ugly. And I thought that this drawing was going to look really boring at best, and like some kind of hideous prison at worst, with all the gray, red, and white colors. The main reason why I don't draw a lot of contemporary things is that I simply do not find them aesthetically pleasing. I think that the world in general looks kind of nasty these days, and as I was drawing, I was thinking about why. I mean, at least where I live, it's not because it's really dirty or anything. It's fairly clean, but it's certainly not all that attractive. I think the landscape in general is just a little too unnatural. I think that cars and streets, concrete, smooth surfaces, and geometric shapes just don't really resonate with me because they're quite literally not supposed to be there, and my brain does not like that. This isn't so much of a problem with older buildings because they always look more natural and more harmonious in their environment to me. Generally, they're made out of materials that are found nearby, so even if they aren't human-made, they still fit in nicely and look visually pleasing. Picture a cabin in the woods made out of the same logs as the trees around it, in contrast to a skyscraper in a concrete jungle. Now, obviously, everyone has different tastes, and I'm sure that there are some people who would tell me that they love chrome and urban landscapes, and they can't imagine why I think that trees and plants are prettier. But I personally still prefer things that look natural, and so that's what I want to represent in my art. This could be the reason why I haven't been giving my present-day characters, including Elizabeth, very much attention, and I'll admit that this is something I have been trying to focus on more, as opposed to the landscapes that I've been doing a lot of. Even though that the world that these characters live in is not all that exciting to me, I still want to develop the characters because I have put a lot of time into them already. to kind of entice myself, I guess, to work on their stories, I've been putting a lot of thought into the town where they live and making my own fictional place, which I might actually make a video about eventually. I really enjoy kind of world building and making my own towns. But still, I do find that contemporary styles and clothing are relatively boring. And another thing I've noticed with my art is that there are a severe lack of brown-haired characters. I mean, Elizabeth has bright blonde hair, her boyfriend's hair is more white blonde, and her best friend has strawberry blonde hair. When I was working with a set of 12 different colored pencils, putting those 3 characters in the same picture was almost funny because their hair looked pretty much the same. I wasn't very good at differentiating my characters' face shapes either at that time, so they all kind of looked related. I have a lot of characters with very dark or black hair, and a lot of blondes, and a few redheads as well, but I have, I think, only one character with brown hair. That's another thing I'm going to have to fix. Brown hair is just so unobtrusive. I think it's a very pretty hair color in real life, but it seems to me that it just isn't visually interesting enough when drawn. I'm going to have to work on drawing brunettes, though, because I know that it can be done, and I know that it can look good. Anyway, here's the finished picture. I was originally planning to do a few of these prompts, but I think I'll have to save that for another video, because this picture already took me about 4 hours in total. I think I put a little too much time into the details, like the menus, the soda machine, and even her name tag, but the small details are really important to me, because they show that this is a 3-dimensional world that the characters are living in. I commonly spend too much time on the ridiculous details in drawings that, in all honesty, most people won't even look at. I remember one drawing, which actually can still be found on my DeviantArt if you care to find it, that I spent a ridiculously long amount of time working on. Most people who look at this drawing are going to notice the red-headed teenager wearing ancient Egyptian clothing throwing a temper tantrum in the foreground. But what took me the longest in the drawing were the wall decorations and the side table in the background. The majority of that time was spent doing research because I wanted to make sure that it was all historically plausible. So yes, this drawing has historically accurate New Kingdom wall decorations, a historically accurate vase with flowers in an arrangement that's also historically accurate, and a table that you would probably more commonly see in the Middle Kingdom, but I wanted a table, so there it is, and it is, to some degree, historically accurate. All in all, I think that this drawing came out pretty well, and I was actually surprised by how much I like it. So I guess it's always worth trying something new. It might not turn out to be as ugly as you think, even if it is the interior of a fast food restaurant. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.